Hey, what's up guys, Exalted here, and in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to easily get to Champions Division in Arena. I'm sure some of you guys have seen my recent videos where I actually get to Champions Division in 6 hours, and my most recent one where I actually went from 0 points to Champions Division in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over everything that I've learned through every single division and how to get to Champions as quickly and as easily as possible. I will have timestamps on the screen so that you guys can skip to where you are struggling with the most. And finally, I would like to say I have officially partnered with Pro Guides. Pro Guides is an amazing place where you can find anything from beginner to super advanced tips, whether that's how to get more kills or how to correctly rotate for late game. They actually just filmed a whole series with Mongrel himself, and there's dozens of other courses as well. There's also custom stats, tools, and a 24/7 professional Fortnite coach that you can talk to at any time. They really work hard at increasing your win rate, KD, and just overall skill level. I highly recommend it. Please consider clicking my link in the description below. Alright guys, so to get to Champions League, you first have to get through 2 other leagues. You have to go through Open League and Contenders League. Open League consists of 3 different divisions, Division 1, 2, and 3. Once you pass Division 3, you will find yourself in Division 4, which is Contenders League. Contenders League consists of Division 4, 5, and 6. After you've completed and passed Division 6, you will find yourself in Champions League. Once you do get to Champions League, you can go ahead and do the weekend tournaments to potentially qualify for the World Cup. Now when it comes to Open League, you have to get through 3 different divisions first. These 3 divisions are pretty easy because there is no bus fare. Bus fare means that you lose points when you play a game. There's 0 bus fare, meaning you won't lose any points for playing games, which highly encourages W-keying, or I guess just pushing every player you see and playing super aggressively. There's nothing wrong with dying. There's a lot of players there, so queues tend to be pretty quick, and overall you're trying to just get through Open Division as quick as possible. Now a couple tips that I have for you. When you are playing an Open Division, I highly suggest practicing ending your fights as early as you can. This will be a skill that will really help you in the future, especially when it comes to later in Contenders Division, because when you end fights as quickly as possible, you 1, get really efficient at fighting, and 2, it prevents other people from hearing your fight and coming to third party. The quicker your fights are over, the quicker you'll be ready for another fight. This will overall lead to a lot more kills in a much safer manner. So when it comes to Open Division and Open League, I guess, Divisions 1 to 3, I suggest hot dropping, just landing the first major city that the bus goes over, getting as many kills as possible because there is no bus fare. The bus fare means that every time you play a game, you lose a certain amount of points. Divisions 1, 2, and 3 have no bus fare whatsoever, so there's nothing wrong with dying. Sitting there and playing for purely placement would be a super slow and inefficient way to gain points when there is no downside to dying. Next, you're going to find yourself in Division 4. Once you have finally finished Open League, you are now in Contenders League. Contenders League is when it starts to get a little bit more difficult. The main reason why Contenders League is difficult is this is when bus fare is introduced. In Divisions 4 and 5, you lose 1 point for every game that you play, meaning if you have 150 points and you go into a game, the second you get in the game, you will be down to 149 and you'll have to work up from there. Now, losing 1 point really is not that bad. All you really have to do is get 1 kill and you are good to go. 1 placement point will already profit you 2 points. So with all the practice that you have from Open League and W-keying and learning how to quickly end fights, you should be good to go to continue to W-key in Divisions 4 and 5. Now, your progress will be a little bit slower because you are losing 1 point per game, but if you're a pretty consistent player and can get an average of 2 kills per game, this should be absolutely no problem to you. Really, I'm going to stress this a lot. Really try to make sure that you guys can end your fights as soon as you possibly can. There shouldn't be too many scrim late game stacked lobbies, I guess, here at Contenders, so placement points in top 25 should be actually super easy around the 15-minute mark. So if you find yourself like maybe 30th or 32nd, then it would definitely be worth it to wait a couple more minutes to get that 3 points for placement. Aside from that, I would suggest that you continue to W-key players, get the kill eliminations, overall getting you as many points as quickly as possible. Alright, so once you guys make it through Divisions 4 and 5, you will find yourself in Division 6. This is the final division before you get into Champions League, but it is also, in my opinion, the hardest division to get through. The reason for this is all the players in Division 6 are trying to get up to Champions League, so they are working so hard, playing so safe, and really using their brain. Now, when it comes to Champions League, players are already there. They have no reason to stay there. Once you hit Champions League, you pretty much stay in Champions League forever, even if you drop below 300 points. So Champions League really is a lot easier than Contenders Division. Now Contenders Division doesn't get super hard until about 275 to 280 points. This 5-point range, you will notice a huge jump in skill gap. The players are much better. They have been practicing and kind of stuck around that 280 area, and you will find yourself struggling a lot. Now, a couple things that I can offer you to help you out in that situation. Before you get to, I guess, all the way up until about 250 points, you want to take as many fights as you possibly can. You cannot win a game unless you can kill other players. If you have gotten to 250 points by sitting in a baller, I highly suggest you get out of the baller and you start learning how to fight. Even if you die tons of times, you're simply just learning. You'll notice yourself, even throughout a day or two, you'll notice yourself improving drastically by taking every single fight you possibly can, whether you win or lose the fight. Now, once you get to Contenders League, I do suggest you kind of try to go for that top 25 placement. That 3 points will help you out a lot, as the bus fare is now -2 points. If you're in duos, I believe it will be -3, and I'll say something about duos a little bit later in the video. So once you make it from 225 points to about 250, like I said, people will start getting harder and better at the game, but they will get much better at 280 points. Once you do get to 280 points, this is when you're going to purely want to go for placement. All the way up until this point, you have learned how to win your team, how to win your fights, how to win just all your encounters with other players. You should be completely set to go. You should have all the practice you need, and this is when you start playing for late game. Late game is going to be where it's at. Late game, you can get tons of kills late game. If you play it correctly, you can get a lot of placement points, and overall, you will hopefully get the majority of your points during the late game. So starting a game in Contenders Division, like I said, the bus fare is 2, so you will automatically go down 2 points. Now, what I suggest is you need to find 1 landing spot, maybe 2 landing spots. You need to learn these landing spots super well. When you die off spawn consistently, it can be very detrimental to your points. So I personally like Paradise and I like Viking Mountain. I'm really good at those 2 locations. I usually just land whatever one is further away from the bus, and I try to play it safe. I land there. I can usually kill every player there because I usually know it better than they do. So find 1 or 2 spots, start learning it, and only land there no matter what. Once you've gotten good at your early game, which is almost the hardest part, you have to get to mid game. My biggest suggestions for mid game is to rotate early. The second you see the next circle, and this lasts from like the first circle all the way to about the 4th circle. Once you see the circle, immediately rotate to the middle of the circle. The reason why you're going to rotate to the middle is because if you're in the middle of a circle, you will always get the next circle. This means that if something happens, you are still safe in the next circle, and you have more time to figure out and plan out how you're going to rotate for the next one. So I highly suggest you rotate to the middle of the circle as soon as possible, box up, and get safe. This is where patience is key. Patience is the biggest reason, in my opinion, why people die in Fortnite. They get impatient and they start to kind of lose track of things that are important. The thing that is important when you get to 280 points is late game. Late game, like I said, you'll get most of your kills and you'll get most of your placement points. This is a ton of points. You need to make it to late game. Do not W key mid game. You will get third partied and you will get killed. Now that you have finally made it to late game, and late game I'm talking about the half in, half out zone, which is when the circle, it's like the first moving zone where it's halfway in the storm and halfway out. This is when late game starts. So in the half in, half out zone, you're going to want to go to the closest part to you on the edge of the circle so that you can shoot at and get a clear shot on all the players rotating, getting forced by circle into circle. I hope that makes sense, but you're going to want to try to rotate early, and you're going to try to watch the other players come towards you / the circle, and you can usually get really easy kills like that. So that is going to be how you're mainly going to play the late game to get maximum kills and hopefully keep your health up so that you don't have to worry about that. At this point, if you need further help, I have tons of videos going over how to win late game, like rising up and getting high ground, when to go mid ground, when to go low ground, how to get good peak shots. I have amazing videos, definitely go check that out. It will help you drastically, but pretty much once you get to 280 points, you are really going to want to play for late game. If you cannot make it to late game, this is simply because you don't really know a landing spot well enough, or you're being a little bit too aggressive. Finally, this brings us to solos versus duos. Personally, I think making it to Champions Division in duos is much easier. The reason why is because when you are in solos, if you mess up once, you will most likely die, and that ruins your chance at future points in that game. When you are playing in duos, if you mess up and you die, your partner can always revive you, so it kind of takes out a little bit of the RNG and unluckiness of solos. The only downside is bus fare tends to be 1 point extra, so every single game you tend to lose 1 extra point, but because there's 2 players, you should hopefully be getting double the kills. Finally, in duos, according to, I guess, the statistics and math, you literally have double the chance of winning the game. This means that you have a higher opportunity to get more kills late game, and you will most likely get more placement points, and you will get more wins. Overall, duos tends to be much easier because statistically, there are less players/teams that you have to fight and kill to obtain the win. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you learned something from the video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you hit that sub button. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.